The Sky shooting 38%. Caitlin Clark, another three-pointer.
Women's basketball is on fire right now, but it's not just about Caitlin Clark. It turns out she's not the only viral high school star who once made rounds all over the internet and is now ready to take women's basketball by storm. Instead, we're talking about none other than Paige Bueckers, and it looks like she's ready to dominate the big leagues. Now, it may be true that everyone who follows women's basketball can't stop talking about none other than Caitlin Clark, but not a lot of people know that there was another guard who was actually ranked higher than her coming out of high school. In 2020, Clark was ranked 4th in the nation. Meanwhile, the player who topped the recruitment charts was Paige Bueckers. This young lady was already a viral sensation in high school. While Clark's videos of shooting long bombs were viral, Bueckers' viral videos showcased her complete skill set. As early as her freshman year in high school, she was averaging crazy numbers of 20.8 points, 4.5 rebounds, 4.5 steals, and 4.1 assists per game. And by the time she was a senior, she was putting up 21.4 points, 9.4 assists, 5 rebounds. Those are crazy numbers from an all-around standpoint, and there was a good reason why she was the top recruit in 2020. Nicknamed Paige Buckets, Bueckers' viral videos feature her complete skill set from the point guard position. She dribbled the ball like Kyrie Irving, making her defenders dance the tango. And she could pull up from the perimeter like a prime Kobe Bryant after creating space with her dribbles. Her ability to get to the paint to score against defenders is also top-notch because of her wide array of layups. And as a 5'11 point guard, Bueckers is much taller than most guards. Of course, there's the fact that she averaged over 9 assists as a senior in high school. That means she's a willing passer, and a great one at that. She relishes making her teammates better instead of simply trying to outscore an entire team on her own. Bueckers was already a complete point guard coming out of high school. That's basically why the best player of 2020 deserved to go to the best school with the best coach. Gino Arima, the best head coach college basketball has seen in a long while, committed early to Bueckers. He didn't waste time offering her a spot on his roster because he knew she was going to be a special talent. Of course, Paige also committed to the UConn Huskies to become their next star point guard. And it was because of her that Arima didn't even try to recruit Caitlin Clark, even though she always wanted to go to UConn.
Very deep team. Clark looking to turn the corner, lays it in through the contact for Caitlin.
But Arima saw both players and realized he wanted Bueckers more than Clark. And the rest was history because Paige went to UConn while Caitlin went to Iowa. That was how good Bueckers was in high school. The Huskies could have had 2 of the best high school guards in recent memory, but he thought recruiting Clark would hold back Bueckers. True enough, Paige went on to dominate college basketball even as a freshman. She was already UConn's best player in just her first season with that team, averaging 20 points, 4.9 rebounds, 2.3 steals, and a conference-leading 5.8 assists. Bueckers was so good that she was an All-American as a freshman and was even named Player of the Year by the Associated Press. It looked like Coach Gino didn't make a mistake in choosing her over Clark because Paige was actually better when they were still freshmen. At that point, the sky was the limit for her because she was only going to get better the longer she stayed with UConn. And she had a good chance at getting drafted first overall in 2024, even over Clark herself. But tragedy struck. Bueckers was struggling with ankle injuries during her sophomore season. Eventually, an ACL tear took the rest of her sophomore season and her entire junior year.
Still looking, Dotson off the mark, collides with Beckers underneath.
So, while Bueckers was recovering from her injuries, Clark was taking the entire nation by storm, becoming a household name and even taking Iowa to the national championships in 2023. That was when Clark turned into a better player. But that didn't affect Bueckers at all because she still went on to produce at the same level when she returned during the 2023-24 season. In her return season, she averaged 21.9 points, 5.2 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 2.2 steals, and 1.4 blocks. She was simply all over the floor on both ends. Her offense was just as good as it ever was, but it was her defense that impressed everyone. Bueckers used her incredible timing to get steals and blocks.
Here's Beckers, huge 3 on the way, is good!
But when it was time to take the team to the finals, her UConn Huskies fell short in the Final Four when they went up against none other than Caitlin Clark. Iowa defeated UConn, taking away Bueckers' dream of winning a championship with UConn. After that season, Buchers could have left UConn to join the star-studded 2024 draft. There was no doubt she would have been drafted second overall behind the headliner Caitlin Clark. But instead of leaving college, she decided to forego the draft for one more season to stay one more season with UConn. It had nothing to do with not wanting to be second to Clark after actually ranking higher than her 4 years ago in high school. Instead, it was more about winning the coveted national championship. With prized recruit Sarah Strong helping her out, Buchers was on a mission the entire season, lighting up every team UConn faced. But she was at her best during the 2025 NCAA tournament, where she proved why she was the best player in the country. Buchers had 3 straight games of scoring 30 or more during the tournament. It started when she had 34 against South Dakota State in the second round. Then, in the Sweet 16, she blitzed Oklahoma State for 40 big points. Then, in a win over Southern California in the Elite Eight, she had 31 points. Paige averaged 24.8 points and 2.8 steals the entire tournament to help UConn win the national championship.
Becker's backdoor, pops it in!
Buchers achieved what she set out to do when she joined the Huskies, and it was now time for her to take her talents to the WNBA. There was no doubt she was the headliner of that year's draft because there was no other woman close to her level. After all, she was a consensus All-American and the winner of almost every Player of the Year award that season. It went without saying that she was going to be the top overall pick, which happened to fall into the hands of the Dallas Wings. The Wings drafted her first overall, and it's now time for Buchers to dominate the WNBA the same way she dominated high school and college. But let's not mistake Buchers as a Caitlin Clark clone. Like Clark, she was already a viral sensation before her college years. Meanwhile, her exposure to TikTok during college only allowed her to grow more in popularity. Call it white girl privilege, if you will, but she's almost just as popular as Clark and is one of the most marketable young players in the WNBA. So that means she's not only coming into the league with mad basketball skills, but also with the popularity of a megastar. Still, it's always going to be up to her basketball skills, and she's got a ton of them. Buchers scored 20 or more points on a UConn team that had plenty of talent. Not a lot of players can do that while playing for the Huskies, but she did. And the scariest part was that she did it efficiently, averaging well over 50% from the floor during her time with UConn, all because of her wide array of offensive skills.
And what a problem for opponents. Becker's left unattended.
Unlike Clark, who relies on a steady diet of crazy outside shots and opportunistic drives to the basket when the lane is open, Buchers is kind of a mix of everything. She's an excellent driver, a good mid-range shooter, and a very efficient three-point marksman. If Clark's offense is reminiscent of Stephen Curry and Dame Lillard, Buchers is more of a Kyrie Irving type of player because she can do so much damage from anywhere on the floor. She even admits that Kyrie was influential on her game growing up. But one of the other aspects of her game that sets her apart is her defense. Using her intelligence and incredible timing and anticipation, Buchers was excellent at playing the passing lanes, getting her hands in the right place at the right time, and even blocking shots close to the basket. There has never been a point guard with her combination of incredible offense and elite defense. So, even if her offense might take time to adjust to the physicality of the WNBA, her defense is going to translate well to the big leagues, especially when you consider that she's so much taller and longer than most point guards. So, like Clark, Buchers is a generational player in terms of her talent and charisma. That's why there's a pretty good chance she's going to be one of the league's headliners for the future and could be the next face of the WNBA alongside Clark and some other popular young players. And from the looks of it, she might even be better than most of the stars in the WNBA and could be in for a spectacular rookie season.